For more, joining us live on this broadcast is Mark Brolin, who is an economist, author and geopolitical strategist, joining us from London. Thank you so much for joining us, Mark.
Thank you.
Let me start by asking you that the Union Budget 2025 has been slated to have given the middle class the much-needed respite it required. But I want to ask you, has India given enough confidence to international investors to invest in India?
Well, I think so. In a way, given the inflation problem, I think the scope for maneuver is limited in relation to, for example, interest rates and capital expenditure. And given that, I think this is a pretty solid budget, which will be, I think it will provide a bit of comfort. It was quite solid budget, perhaps slightly boring by not having so many surprises, but that is usually a good thing within the investment community. And I think many international investors will like things like the investment friendliness index, for example, and the promises about regulatory reform, including the Bharat trade net and what that promises about the non-tariff barriers. I think those are major concerns for the investment community. So then the proof is in the pudding, but if the promises are delivered, I think this will be good news for international investors, yes.
Right. I'm curious to know, Mark, what stood out for you in the budget?
Well, I think overall that I think the finance minister wanted to, in relation to international investors, I think it was a good budget in the sense that she made the right noises. She does want to provide, she does want to be appealing to international investors. It's not the budget only for domestic use. It's and I think that was definitely a good thing. But I think it was a bit surprised that there was not more capital expenditure, and I think that's actually a good thing for international investors. Again, that there was less political opportunism in many ways. And then, of course, you had all the regular, usual political noises about the promises about everything, and that again, that's what every politicians do. But I think what's standing out is that India remains on the track of being. I mean, it's the fastest growing big economy in the world, and there is nothing in the budget that stops that. And I think that's actually a key thing that we perhaps talk too little about sometimes when we are focusing too much on the short-term stuff. So that's very good news.
Indeed. Can you help our viewers understand how will foreign investors view India's revision to the fiscal deficit target? What's your view on that?
I think, again, they will be kind of positive in a way. I think there is a bit of concern, just like in Europe, for example, that the tax intake is not higher. And still tax cuts are promised, but I think that's a debate going on now internationally, and I think the trend is towards what the Indian Prime Minister and the Finance Minister is doing is actually lowering taxes and hoping that the tax intake will hoping for a dynamic effect and that the tax intake will be higher in the long run. So yeah, I think that's perhaps a key, but that's a billion-dollar issue, of course. How much do you need to invest, and how much what happens when you actually drop taxes?
Right. Thank you so much for joining us, Mark, and sharing your insights on the budget.
Thank you. Pleasure.